into extension ladder. What are they called?
They're called death traps, Tommy.
Death traps, yes.
That's a horrible ladder.
It's it really.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Men do not menstruate.
Some women have penises, right? Some men have vaginas.
Oh man, you don't want a grandkid? Oh man, well dude, you're a weak man, dude.
LGBTQIA+++, and then we included men who dress up like women and mock women, like influencer Dylan Mulvaney.
Everything Manly Podcast is a place where men can come to be taught and encouraged to think and act like men in a world where men are being feminized. John and Tommy are two men who want to encourage men how to think and act in a feminized world. Hey guys, welcome to Everything Manly Podcast. John, good to have you again, man.
Yeah, man, good to be back.
Well, I guess we're partner hosts, so it's pretty much a guarantee that every time I'm here, you're going to see John. Every time John hears, you're going to see me.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the topic of men building stuff.
Always a good thought.
And so John's a contractor, and I decided to, why not tap into his giftedness and his talents in this area and let him teach us, because he's taught me a lot since I've known him about building stuff, so I appreciate you. And also, we've got to plug, we're growing as the Everything Manly Podcast. We've got some swag that's coming.
I heard about it.
So we're going to do hoodies and we're going to do short sleeve shirts. I'm going to open a Facebook page. So if you follow me on Facebook, my personal Facebook, then I'm going to open that Everything Manly Facebook page. You should be able to send me a message, and we'll have prices on what the cost for everything is. And then you can get your hoodie or your shirt. And on the back of it, I think this is really cool because you came up with the idea. One of your people at church came up with the idea.
Yeah. And
we when we close the podcast, we always say, "Don't be a pansy."
Yeah.
You know. And so on the back of the shirt, it's going to have "Don't be a pansy." Then it has our logo, and then it says, "Listen to Everything Manly Podcast." And it's got a QR code on the bottom right corner.
Yeah.
If someone's standing behind you in Walmart or at Lowe's or wherever you're at, they can scan that QR code and go directly to our podcast.
we hope so.
We hope.
It looks like a bunch of squiggly lines to me. I don't understand technology. According to you, it's going to work.
We got all hopes that it will work.
And if not, we'll have to correct it.
Yes, that's right.
We'll test them before we send them out.
We will test them before we send them out. And then we'll have a Facebook page here soon. Be looking out for that and follow us on Facebook. And I'll be just posting some silly pictures of John from time to time.
They'll be easy to find. They're easy to find.
All right, so let's go ahead and get in, and let's talk about the importance, I think, at minimum, even if you're not great at it, at least learning how to build something in your life. If you're a man, maybe you're not building a house. I'm gonna let you pick the specific thing that we want to talk about, the build. I mean, like out here, we built a skinning shed.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we need to know to tackle the job, then how to think about tackling the job, the overall, everything involved with it. Then we'll talk about tools needed, the materials needed, and anything else. And maybe just give some rules of thumb, that maybe some shortcuts you've learned, or maybe just some really good principles you've learned over the years that will just benefit a man thinking through how to build things. Because I know what's going to happen. The men that listen to this, some are going to say, well, man, I've never been able to build anything. I'm not that type of guy. But I think men sell themselves short, because just because you're not great at doing something doesn't mean you can't be adequate to do. I mean, when I first started, I was horrible, but I just kept trying, and I got a little better as time went along.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guess just as part of the backstory for me, I started out as a teenager being interested in woodworking, and so my background's kind of in carpentry and things like that. And so it started out kind of as a hobby of picking up scrap this, scrap that, seeing if I could make a picture frame or just ridiculous things because I was cheap at Christmas and I wanted to make some kind of handmade gift and and that kind of thing. So for me, there was I guess some inclination to do it. I never knew it would be something I'd do as a career. I never anticipated that in the very beginning. And then I didn't have a dad at home. We've talked about this in the previous podcast, but my dad was out of the picture kind of.
Go back and listen to John's podcast on this issue.
Yeah, like part of my testimony I think we shared one time. But with him not being around, but I had an uncle who he really didn't know how to build stuff.
Yeah.
But he kind of had a little bit of a farming background, a little gardening. But he was more of he was literally a mill worker, man. He was just a guy, get up, go to work, punch the clock. He did it for like 35 years. I mean, that's what people did around in this community. And, but he knew that he saw that in me. And so then he started, saying, well, why don't we try to look at this together? And so he and I together kind of figured some things out. And he probably bluffed it for a while till I got older and I realized he didn't really know what he's talking about. But that's how I kind of got started. And so, when I was a kid coming up, my Christmas gifts would be like a saw, or a hammer or just whatever, and little things like that. And so that was his way of kind of, I think, encouraging me. And so I look at it I wanted to just start with that to simply say like, my background wasn't that I knew what I was doing or I had some dad who just passed on the trade or, I literally started from scratch. Just trying to figure out how can I cut this board and not slice my hand off, and how can I get this board to fit together and whatever. And so that's kind of how it started. And then eventually over time, I guess by necessity, I realized, well, this is a skill set that I could at least make some kind of income on. And so that turned into something that became, kind of what I do. And then most people that's listened to us for a while know I'm also a pastor. And so then what I began to figure out was that there were so many principles in construction that kind of overlaced with, it came from biblical connections, you know, and so then there's so many things that sort of influenced me where I realized like, man, like you got to have a foundation and, or you got to have like a measuring stick. And so certain things are going to be, they're not going to be relative. They're going to be absolute. And, there's so many of these biblical connections that I could see in building. So for me, it was sort of a natural thing. Because I had people that say, well, when are you going to just start doing church work and leave this behind? And I'm like, well, I think both of these things right now is what God's allowed me to do. And until he changes that, I mean, that's what I'm going to keep doing. And so that's kind of my background, where I'm coming from. But I do think it's something definitely that most guys can, could grow in this and could use it as a means to bless their family.
So let's just try to encourage men. So when did you begin to feel adequate to build maybe like a lean-to or a little over like a shed or something, like a little over the top shed?
So like I remember like we had old barns growing up, and it was like a couple of old barns, like a tobacco barn.
Barn,
and so inevitably they would always fall apart over time and things. And so that's kind of that's actually some of the things I probably first ever did. Because I remember, one of the first times we had a tree come down, a limb wiped out some old tin, and then everybody looks around and go, well, the young guy's expendable. He can get up on the roof. so that, remember kind of climbing up and pulling off tin and putting rafters back up. And, at that time, you're trying to be practical. I'm not doing it for money. But I'm learning. And I'm learning. I'm understanding principles, and so I would say, like, even to something like that. I mean, I was still in high school, doing things like that. When it kind of first started for me.
So, I mean, we're talking within a few years.
I mean, it's not. Because I mean, and even now, I mean, I have guys that'll work with us that are literally in high school. I mean, they're competent enough to do these things.
Wow.
I mean, we've dumbed down kids so much that we think they got to be 25 years old before they can ever do anything.
We talked about that too, right?
That's crazy.
For example, the young man you got working with you now that you started
sure.
a few months back. I mean, he's progressing pretty well, right?
100%. Yeah. He's picking up on it. He's loving it. Learning all the little tricks and tips and and the other thing is, I mean, most younger people, I mean, obviously their mind's sharp, and so it doesn't take them long, and then and then like a guy like me, I'm I'm a little slower than I used to be, you know, and I'm more thoughtful about where I put my feet at, you know,
Sure. Yeah.
and things like that. But as far as learning a trade or learning to branch out and trust them, and that's kind of what I try to do is I'm like, hey man, I don't want you just to go make a mistake to make a mistake.
Yeah.
But there's times where they'll do something and I'll go, hey man, I'm gonna just tell you, like, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know, you know, because
Yeah.
I've already done that a million times and done it wrong.
Exactly.
And most young folks are able to do that stuff. So.
And so what I want you to hear here, if you think you're inadequate to build things, you're not.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you can do it if you want to, if you have the time to put into it. And you don't have to be a full-time contractor if you just want to build something around your house. I mean, hopefully with just a few of these principles you can apply after you take this close out this podcast. It's going to help you greatly, and that's basically what I want to get you from this part right now. I want you to understand you can do it.
Yeah.
You just got to have a willingness to do it, and a willingness to push yourself and challenge yourself to do something new.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you ought to be excited. I know for me, whenever it comes to learning something new, whether it's playing the bass or building something I haven't built before, or learning how to put shingles on a roof, or to do a 12-2 pitch, or whatever it may be, you should be excited to learn something new. Don't settle just for being mediocre in the sense of not wanting to learn anything new.
Yeah.
I think we should as men, should always be challenging ourselves to be better, to do something different, to think outside the norm, not be satisfied with just the status quo. And that type of learning, that type of curiosity, that should carry on to you die.
Yeah, it goes into other areas of your life too.
It does.
And I agree with what you're saying. Like when I first started out, and at this point I would have been, you know, a college age guy, kind of starting working in the industry and in the trade with some other contractors, other people that was framing houses, things like that. But I come into it wanting to know like everything.
Yeah.
Why do you cut this board this way? Why'd you do it that way? Why do we do it like this? You know, and the older guys, you know, if you ever been around trades, you know, there's like a hierarchy, right? I mean, you got the newbie, the apprentice guy, you know, that's just part of the thing, you know, and it's fun. But a lot of the older guys, what I realized is there were a lot of older guys I work with that are like, well, I don't know why we do it. And some of them were like, well, I don't know how to do it. Only so-and-so knows how to do it. And I'd get on these jobs and I'm like, man, y'all are doing this stuff. And you mean you don't know how to cut the stairs, or, you know, you don't know how to do the rafters? And they're like, nah, that's the hard stuff. We don't do that. And so I realized then that there was almost, and these guys have been working together for years. And
There's
I'm
a
like,
hierarchy with
and I was kind of like, well, I don't want to be like that. Like, I want to learn.
Sure.
So I learned really quickly on a job site that you found a guy was the cut man. Yeah. And then I'd go hang out with him. Because, I mean, he's a guy, anybody can nail nails, you know, anybody can put a board together. But I was like, I want to go learn that guy's trade, what he's doing, because he's the one that's keeping every one of these dudes rolling.
Fed,
yeah. And so that's where I kind of learned. But like you said, same thing, where you go, I wanted to learn, and you don't want to be arrogant, or you know, but you want to go, hey, man, I want to know how to do it. And of course, experience comes to play, but I wanted to learn how to do those things. And so when I think about like a guy in his household setting, and he's going to take on a task that may be something he's uncomfortable with. Nowadays, man, there's so many resources.
Sure.
I mean, not plugging something else, but I mean, clearly you can look it up online. You can YouTube about anything now.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's plenty of, you know, ideas like that that you could do, but it could be something as simple as like fixing a window, man, at the house, or making a door close that won't close, or working on a hinge, or anything that the average guy could do, and you don't have to sub it out. And it's a way to bless your family, you know, if you can do that. And
it'll give you a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day that you learned something new and you served your family.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, and you know, you helped me learn how to begin to think about cutting stairs, because I had to go out west after the hurricane.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And I had to help build a tiny house for somebody who lost their home in the hurricane.
Yeah.
And so here I am, we're going out there, and I've never cut stairs before, but I had you on the phone, and you helped step me through it, and then I watched a YouTube video. Yeah. And at the end, hey, the stairs were up, and it didn't fall apart. So praise the Lord.
It looked good on the picture you sent me. So
it worked.
I'd have paid for them.
Yeah, it worked. So just don't sell yourself short. So let's talk about what are the basic principles, or what are some things that people need to know in order to begin building let's just say a basic lean-to?
Yeah. So I mean, you basically when you think about any kind of building, and I tell people a lot of times, like we build houses, we build additions and whatever, but it takes just as much to build a room addition as it does build a house. The principles are always going to be the same. You're going to start from the ground up.
Foundation.
You got a foundation. You got some kind of floor system, like in a house setting. You got a floor system, wall system, roof structure. With the lean-to though, it's the same kind of thing. You just want to go add a little shed on something, you still got to dig down. You got to have some kind of a foundation, which may be dig a hole in the ground.
Well, kind of like what we did with the shed. We put a post in the ground, then we put concrete around the post.
So you're going to have that. But the concept is, you just got to think about, in your mind, transferring loads. Like there's a weight of whatever. So it's going to either be, the roof is going to be holding its own weight, and that's got to be holding on to something, which would probably be a beam. That beam is going to carry a span, but then that's got to eventually get back to the ground.
It's got to get down to the foundation.
And that's where that pole comes in, or post or whatever. And so, if you can think about those basic concepts, you can build something safely, and it may not be the kind of thing where you're like, I'm a professional at this.
Yeah.
But you can get your lawnmower out of the rain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, on average, as a rule of thumb, if you dig down, you go down 16 inches, 18 inches, 2 foot deep with a little post hole digger or something. That's plenty to hold up a basic lean-to,
All right. So, so we're talking about a foundation, and we're basically into 4-post, ready mix from Lowe's Home Improvement.
Grab a couple of bags,
Break it in, break open the bags, dump them in, put a little bit of water in, poke a stick in there, make sure the water gets to the bottom. And then with that quick set, it sets within 45 minutes to an hour, so it sets pretty quick.
Yeah, so once you get that stuff in the ground, then as far as putting like a some kind of a rafter up or whatever to hold the roof part.
Let's talk about the post being level.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to make any assumptions.
No, exactly right.
You want your post to be plumb.
Yeah.
Plumb has to do with being up and down. Level has to be doing, across. But vertically, you want it to be plumb in both directions. You don't want it leaning,
Yeah.
And sometimes you help me with this. We'd put a little, brace on the side or something to keep it like that. While you're working. And then once you get it up to the, you get it plumb, then you're going to want to maybe make a beam across it, which could be simply a piece of 2x material, something,
And you told me a very valuable piece of information, that if you have it plumb and level when you start at the bottom.
That's right, yeah.
When you get up in the air, it's going to go a lot easier for you.
That's 100% true, yeah. Don't ask me how I know. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. These principles are true where, regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you start off square, everything lines up and it's it's proper and position, and then it's plumb. When you start doing roof work, that's when eventually it catches you.
Yeah.
So if something's out of line or something's not right on the ground, when you get in the air, it just makes it a whole lot harder. You want everything to be.
Yeah, because your plywood, what I noticed when we built the skinning shed is, of course, it's cut in most 4x8 sheets.
Yeah.
And then if you have it measured right, then you don't have to do much cutting. I think we did the roof out there.
Pieces,
we did the roof out there pretty basic. So we only needed 4 full sheets and then 2 short sheets there at the top.
We tried to strategically stretch the material.
As best we could. Yeah.
We wanted to use every square inch of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was the design, and that's the thing. So I guess all of it goes back to your design. If you plan well on paper, or at least in your mind. In your mind, yeah. By the time you get on the site, it makes it work better. But you got to have your posts. You got to have some kind of a beam to hold up the roof, and then that can be attached. Depending on what you're doing. It could be nails, some kind of screws, probably be a little stronger. Yeah. And ultimately, the best thing would be some kind of bolting or something, like a through bolt. Would give you the most strength to hold that beam up. And then if you got a lean-to, you're trying to just build like a little half A. It's just like a little shed. You have another structure you're going to bump into. Yeah. So that gives you a starting point. That's probably the easiest roof structure you can do. Okay. Because you've already got an existing building. And then you just put one little roof up off the side of it. You kind of got a starting point. You're not just, we did your little building out here. We were out in the middle of nowhere. So you're trying to start with nothing to go by. You know, just makes it hard. That's advanced level.
Yeah. It's I do notice that if it's something that's already plumb or something that you're attaching to, it goes a lot easier.
Yeah,
like I had a situation with my little handyman service LLC that I'm a neighbor. He wanted me to finish putting up some lattice on his deck and his porch, and I talked with you.
Yeah.
And it was really easy because everything was already plumb.
Yep.
And so all I had to do was attach to the existing structure. So within 3 hours, I was in and out. It was pretty much done. I had to put a door and finish up. But you gave me and this is why it's so good to have friends who have practical wisdom. Because I had this PVC lattice and it was so limber, it wasn't structurally strong because it was just PVC and it was very long and cumbersome.
Yeah.
And you told me, you said, hey man, take you a sheet of plywood and take your circular saw and make it thin and cut that lattice on that plywood.
Yeah.
And man, that made the job go a lot faster and saved me a lot of headache because I was thinking, how am I going to cut this stuff?
It's too flimsy. Yeah.
So you were very helpful in that. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yep.
So basically what I'm hearing, make sure you got a good foundation, make sure it's level, make sure it's plumb.
Yep.
You get up in the air. If you're tying to existing structure, it makes it a lot easier to do. So if you're just making a lean-to off the cuff, then you would definitely want to make sure that your structure is square and level and plumb.
Yeah.
So.
Or you just need to have a high tolerance for imperfection.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Yeah.
But if it's not, the problem will be if it isn't, if it's not square, then that means it's not like in 90-degree angles. And so if that's the case, then when you go to ready to put, whether it be plywood or shingles,
it's going to show,
or metal or whatever, it's going to be a real problem because those things are designed to go on something that's square.
Yeah.
And so regardless of what the sheeting is that you're going to put on top, it needs it that way. So
yeah.
So you're fighting against yourself if you don't. So some people want to rush through a job because it's quicker. But if they don't take the time to think about it, when they get to the finished product, it'll just drive them crazy because it just won't work. So sometimes you need to take that extra time and just do it right. Yeah, and that's a principle though. I mean, that's the kind of thing where you'd want a man to do. You take your time, you size up the job, you get a design, you figure it out, you plan your material. Those are things that men ought to be able to do. And then learning the skills of cutting, fastening. Now that's a different thing. Yeah. But as far as being able to plan, I mean, every guy can do that. Like that's something a guy can do.
And so that's where I want us to merge together here in point two, how to think about actually tackling the job. So what you're saying, that there's almost at minimum two components here. There's a planning of the job, the materials needed, where you're going to get the materials from, how much are they going to cost. Do you have the spare money to pay for it? Right. And then the actual skill or the know-how to go about building it.
Because basically what you're trying to do, or what you're going to do, is you're going to end up saving on the labor you'd pay somebody else, right? Yeah. But you're also going to have a sense of accomplishment if you do it, whatever the project is. We're talking about a lean-to, but whatever it is. If it's building a trash can holder or whatever, but you have that sense of accomplishment. And the one thing I tell people too, that one of the things I enjoy about the trade is that when you start like a big project, there's just a pile of wood laying in a yard. Yeah. For us as carpenters. And, the thing is that sort of sets it out for me is I'm like, well, in a matter of time, that pile of wood becomes a structure that will then give someone shelter for many, many, many years. Yeah. And so that's a really fulfilling thing when you walk away and you're like, number one, it's not the kind of thing that everybody has the ability to do. Yeah. But number two, that you've provided something for a family, not for the little 1 year you were there, but for 30, 40 years of their life and their kids and whatever. So for me, that's part of the motivation to do those sorts of things. And so when it starts off small, like in the home, it may seem like a seemingly insignificant thing, but you're providing something that's going to bless your family and I think that's an accomplishment any guy can be proud of. And also, men, I know how you think because I am one. Men don't like to go to other men shopping at shopping malls. I mean, that's just not us, the majority of us. Yeah. Maybe there's a few outliers.
But when you do a project, hey, invite somebody in, maybe somebody who knows a little bit more than you that you can learn from.
Yeah.
And it's a form of fellowship. It's a form of spending time together. I know we built a fire and we went out there and we got it done. And so it's not only opportunity for you to learn and grow and mature and provide something for somebody and bless them, but it's also opportunity for you to bring somebody else along.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, just about 2 weeks ago, we had a lady in our church that her and her husband were in need of a handicap ramp.
Okay.
Just a way to get in their home. And we got a gentleman in the church that's really good at planning those things. He knows how to do the materials. He knows how to figure it real well. And so he's like, hey man, I can go by and talk to him. So he goes by and talks to him.
Finds out exactly what they want.
Yeah, what do they want? I said, we were like, hey, you go figure it out and you tell us. And I got some guys that are purely grunts.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, dude, we pick up heavy things. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I got some guys that are the skill guys.
Yeah.
But we ended up taking, I don't know, it was about 7, 8, 9 of us. What took a Saturday morning. And like you said, it was a fellowship event.
Yeah.
In a couple of hours, we went there and had a really
done.
substantial ramp done for these people. It was safe.
Yeah.
And it was, it was something that was going to last them. And I mean, they were just totally touched by it. And so it's the kind of thing that, that men can do. And it's a perfect example of saying, not every guy that was there would be able to start from A to B and get there. But with all of us together, it worked out really well. And
you know what? The guys who were there just lifting heavy things, I can promise you, if we had them sitting here, they would tell you they learned something.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so it may start off just at your home, but who knows? Maybe you'll begin to love what you're dreading.
Yeah.
And as you learn this, you now not only can bless your family around your house, but you now can be a blessing to others in your community. Yeah. You can be a blessing to others in your church.
Yeah.
And
a perfect example of that in my life was that when I was growing up, I mean, that was the thing. Like, I was interested in this stuff when I was a kid. Well, it was one of my brothers, who was really involved at the church, and they would take it upon themselves to go help widow women that had needs. And so he'd come to the house. He was older than me, I was still living at home. He'd pick me up, said, Saturday morning, I'm coming to get you. Yeah. And so me and him hop in the truck, whatever, and we go out, and he's like, we're going to go fix this lady's crawl space door or whatever. I don't know what he's talking about,
Sure.
or help build a well house top or whatever it was, something they needed, And as a kid, I mean, I had no clue what went into that. Yeah. But I learned, by watching and doing, and now it's kind of neat to be full circle years later. I'm at the same church that my brother was serving at. Now here I am at the church, and I'm able to go, kind of do some of those same things, and I want to bring other guys with me because I'm like, somebody did that for me. So that's kind of full circle.
It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. So at minimum, how to think through tackling a job.
Yeah.
Know your materials. Bring other men into it if you can.
Yeah.
And then know the basics of not just what the materials you need, but have thought through, watch the YouTube video, talking to someone who has more experience on, make sure your foundation is square and plumb, and that's going to save you some headache when you get up and you start putting your plywood up. So let's talk about what types of tools would be needed for a project like a lean-to. And also, do you have any specific go-to brands, or we're not been paid to plug any brand, but any type of tools that you like? You just got to have this one.
Yeah,
So
I go whatever's cheap.
I hear you. Harbor Freight, baby.
Harbor Freight's where it's at. Stealing ideas since 1977. But yeah, so as far as the tool thing goes. Now we're speaking kind of in a carpentry area, but if you think about this lean-to thing, you need some kind of a digger, a hole digger, post hole digger, which that's pretty inexpensive to have, and really it's just good to have one anyway.
It is,
and throw in your arsenal of things in your garage, but that's a good thing to have. And then basically the regular hand tools are sufficient. I mean, you get a decent little hammer. I would say when it comes to hammers. There's all different sizes, shapes, whatever. But for the handyman kind of guy, man, like a 16-ounce hammer's plenty. Okay. If you're going to be swinging all day, you're going to want something bigger. Yeah. More powerful. Let the hammer do the work for you. Yeah, be more powerful. But if it's something you're unfamiliar with, I mean, that 16-ounce will be fine. get you going. And then probably the most versatile tool, but it is one that takes skill, is going to be a circular saw.
Yeah.
Now that is the kind of thing, if you've never done it, I mean, it is very dangerous. I mean, it's a blade spinning 4,000 RPMs.
Sure.
So it'll cut whatever it touches.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things where that is a skill thing, and that is helpful to have somebody, show you if you've never done it. A safer thing, if you're just doing regular straight cutting, would be some kind of a miter saw. Yeah. And that's what I recommend to people that want to get started in something like this, or like, man, I'm just trying to cut some 2x4s or cut some dimensional material.
Just get a small miter
but it doesn't
saw.
do you any good when you're cutting sheets of plywood or things like that. But it's safer, it's got a lot more protection to it.
Yeah.
And so like when I've taken kids and done mission projects, a lot of times I'll try to design things where they can use the miter saw. And so I'll get all the young girls, all the young boys, and I'll let them,
just teach them.
Just where your hand needs to be, is where you got to do the safety stuff, and then we'll go through it. And so that's I know what I'm saying is, if they can do that, a grown man can do that.
Yeah.
And that's safe. But like with the circular saw, you can just do about everything you want to do, but it does take you building your confidence a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's heavy, And then the other thing I'd say nowadays that's really useful is a little impact driver.
Man,
those things are, when I started, we didn't have that. Nobody had that.
It's amazing how versatile that tool
and that
is.
thing's great for everything. So if you get your inexpensive little impact driver, it's not good for drilling something.
Yeah,
you'll need a drill for that. But that little impact, man, it'll all the bits and the features, any kind of screws or whatever you're doing, they can handle it.
Yeah, I haven't been paid to say this, but I found the best deal on my impact driver and my drill. I found a combo deal on a Black Friday sale.
Yeah,
and we got one coming. I'm sure there are going to be many sales coming up. And if you find your combo, I think DeWalt sometimes has these combo deals where you can get the impact and the drill together, and maybe they throw in a drill bit set. I even actually found my DeWalt miter saw and a whole table set on a Black Friday deal for like $300, and that's a great deal. So I got a whole table that's adjustable. I got the miter saw that clips into the table, and so just look out for those deals. Look out for the Black Friday deals. But yeah, I'm like you. If we used a nail gun to put up the shed, but I mean, you could easily done that with an impact drill and some screws.
And some screws and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm kind of a pneumatic guy. Like, I'm into air tools. Because for me, I need something that's consistent for 8 or 10 hours a day.
Yes.
And air is the most reliable thing out there. Of course, if you got a lot of money and you want to drop some money, they've got a lot of battery operated stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're running a $150 nail gun, you're going to buy a battery version for $550, or $600, and so that's a lot of investment that most people aren't going to make. But that's why I use pneumatic.
Yeah, and I would also tell you, piggybacking on that, don't skimp on the air compressor. I would say if you're going to use a nail gun, don't get anything smaller than a 5-gallon air compressor.
Man.
Because I bought like a little 2-gallon, and it wouldn't even blow a trailer tire up. It was horrible. So my girls got me for Christmas after I burnt that one up, trying to do stupid things with it. It wasn't designed to do. They bought me a 5-gallon from Harbor Freight, and I have no complaints with that. It's done exactly what I
we
wanted
nickname those we call them pancake compressors.
Yeah.
They're little small pancake compressors. But those things are great. I mean, you can work all day with them, and that's for $100 some bucks. You can have that at your house. You can pump your tires up, lawnmower stuff, car stuff. You can do all kinds of things. So it's a great tool for a guy to have around the house. That'd be a great thing to add on.
And also, if your wife wants you to put some trim down, or maybe trim up some things, or a basic miter saw, a little finish nail you can get from Harbor Freight for basically $50-$60 maybe.
Yeah.
And you got your air compressor, you're maybe in $150-$200, and you've got a good setup that's not $500-$600. And
and it's going to last you a really long time.
Yeah, it will. It will. As long as you take care of it, put it back in the box where it came from, and don't abuse it. It will last you for a long, long time.
100%.
Yeah.
So all those things I'd recommend. And it as far as brands, I'm not a big brand guy.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, most things nowadays are built to be disposable, and it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you spend the money on DeWalt or whatever.
Yeah.
I went through the DeWalt phase. I've been through Porter cable phases. I've been through Milwaukee phase. But I'm not a huge brand guy. But I will say now, just in a personal preference, because it's just I got used to it, is as I love a Makita circular saw.
Makita circular
saw.
saw.
It's just that's been what I always grew up on, and so I got them rolling around everywhere. But they're just reliable. I think it's like a Japanese brand, but it's just
where do you get those?
They're kind of bulletproof. You can get them at any hardware store.
Okay.
I think right now probably in the box stores. I think Home Depot stocks some kind of because it's kind of one of those things where like Lowe's may not carry it because of branding or something. Sometimes they might have them, sometimes they don't. But normally like a Home Depot or local hardware have them.
Because you
can get them on Amazon.
I almost burnt my Harbor Freight circular saw up when I was cutting all those small slits to bend that plywood for that boat job I had to do.
That's right. Yeah.
So that was. I'm glad I had you on the call there on that one. I mean, just to slowly bend that plywood and I had to go on the back of that plywood and cut small slits, and there were a lot of slits I had to cut, and so the saw just ran so much I basically almost burned it. And it's a Harbor Freight, like $30, so I'm not out of much. But
the saws that I use, I mean, that saw is probably a $130 saw. I mean, they're not like astronomical.
And how long do they last?
Oh, forever.
See?
Yeah.
And so
it's worth it.
Sure, it's worth the investment.
Because I'm using them all day, but yeah.
All right, and another, we can assume a basic speed square.
Yeah.
Framing square.
And the speed square is something relatively new.
Yeah.
In this business.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up.
Let's explain what a speed square is.
It's a triangle.
Okay.
Basic. It makes no sense. It's a speed square that's a triangle.
It's a triangle. Yeah. And you put it on the end of the board to cut your straight lines. You can actually cut pitches with it. I mean, it's a very useful tool.
Yeah, it's just a great little tool. It goes in your pouch, whatever. It's easy.
And that's another thing. If you're going to be working is a small. Doesn't have to be a huge tool belt, but just a tool belt that has a place for a hammer, a tape measure, speed square, place where you can hang your impact, and that's fine.
And that is something I would say, that would be good for guys to do, and it probably applies to all kinds of things in life, is to learn how to read a tape measure.
Yes.
You don't have to be like super proficient with it.
Yeah.
But I do meet people on a regular basis who just
can't tell what a 3/4 is.
It blows their mind.
Quarter, half.
Yeah.
7/8.
It'd be like grown men. They're like, hey man, I don't know how to read that. And so that is something that would be helpful in life. If you're just hanging a picture in the house and, you need to know how tall your ceiling is. I mean, and your wife asks you, it'd be nice to know how to do it. So that'd be a simple skill set that anybody could pick up.
Just reading a tape measure. Yeah. And I'm sure there's YouTube out there for it.
100%. But, even, in America, of course, we make it complicated because ours is standard.
Yeah.
I deal with other guys that are like, why don't you use metric, centimeters and meters, and it's all simpler to understand. Yeah. But for me, we're down, pretty much we stay within 16ths, in carpentry for the most part, unless you're doing something really crazy. But so if you can figure out, the 16 little black marks.
There you go. You got 16 sixteenths.
You're good to go.
Inside of an inch.
Yep.
There you go. All right, very good. So we've covered what they need to know, basically, on how to tackle a job. We've covered how to think through tackling a job, so getting a materials list and then getting a plan in place and actually building the structure. We talked about the tools that they would need, materials. We briefly touched on that for a roof. What type of plywood you use? 4x8, of course. What thickness would you use for plywood?
Yeah, so most of the time your thickness depends on how far apart you would put the rafters.
Okay, so let's go 16 on center. And what that means is every 16 inches.
Yeah, so if you've got a piece of material, as a rafter every 16 inches and a piece of what they call like half-inch plywood would be sufficient that you could get on it, walk on it, be safe.
Okay.
So.
And then if you're going to put shingles on the lean-to or a 10 would be the easiest for you.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be simpler, yeah.
Yeah, and so you don't have to put any type of barrier down. Just lap your tin and then put your they have special screws that come with the tin that have little gaskets, so seals on them when you screw it down. Don't screw it too tight, but screw it enough for that seal to snug in and get tight enough for you. Yeah. So you got to decide whether you're going to use a pneumatic nail gun to put rafters up, plywood up, and then you'll have to, or whether you're going to use impact and some impact screws.
Yeah.
So plywood, tin, 4 4x4 post, and some time and effort.
Yeah, that's right.
Speed square.
A couple of weekends, right?
A couple of weekends, yeah. A few hours, right?
Recruit your children to help.
There you go. Bring another guy in and let your kids hold the stuff for you.
That's right.
I've recruited my kids more than once.
Yeah.
Like, Dad, can we go now? I'm like, no, not quite yet.
We're almost done. Yeah, I guess the only other thing I would think about just to mention would be ladders. Some way to do ladders. So, typical ladder, which would be good to have as a homeowner, probably is like a 6-foot ladder maybe.
Okay.
Or an 8-foot at the most. Average homeowner's not going to need more than that.
Yeah.
But you could get around, with an 8-foot ladder, you can, reach most everything in the average house. But you could use that either as a folding ladder, it opens up, you could, reach something. Or you could eventually get you an extension ladder.
Yeah.
But that didn't have to be major. But
They make these ladders now. I don't know. You would know the name of them. Basically, they serve as an A-frame ladder, but then you can extend them out and make them into an extension ladder. What are they called?
They're called death traps, Tommy.
Death traps. Yes.
That's a horrible ladder.
It's it really?
No, I've seen. Yeah, a lot of guys like them.
Yeah.
It's just too many things to twist
move
and
around.
pull, and for
They
me,
could break?
Yeah, well, not necessarily. I mean, they're strong, but like everything has to lock in place, and I'm just like, this is too complicated.
aggravating.
It's too complicated.
Yeah.
I just need an extension ladder.
Gotcha.
But no, I know what you mean. Yeah, they're nice. They're like little articulating ladders, and so to fold up, and you can haul them in the back of a truck easier.
They are heavier.
But they are, yeah, they're heavy.
Because one thing about an A-frame ladder, whether it be 8-foot, 10-foot, 12-foot, once you get it balanced, it goes pretty easy.
Yeah.
But those ladders are heavy because everything is contracted into very small areas, so it's dense.
Yeah, and like a little aluminum extension ladder, a 16-footer or a 20-footer would be more than anything a homeowner would ever want. They could change a light bulb or get to the gutters or whatever with that.
Yeah. So we talked about safety with the circular saw. Any other safety points that you would want to give to anybody who's just starting out building stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I think about was, of course, with any of the saws, you got to deal with that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the other thing would be like electrical stuff, when you're doing your cords and things like that. Being careful with those things because, most time a cord's going to be plugged up into something that may not be a safe circuit. You got it in water or you do something dumb.
Be careful with that.
You be watchful of that. And a lot of times cords will get really worn out quickly, and you can have bare wire show when you grab it, or something. So that kind of stuff I think about. I try to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
And then I've always, I got glasses because I can't see, but having something over your eyes is helpful because. It's just there's numerous times where I've had something fly up and hit my glasses, and I'm like, man,
thankful I had those on.
That could have been bad,
Yeah.
And so that can happen really, really easily. So.
And I would tell you, if you don't wear glasses like John and I do, you definitely wear a pair of safety glasses. I was working on an HVAC site doing changing out a heat exchanger, and it was very rusted, and it was up above me, and I was pulling on it. And I pulled on it and got it out, and a piece of rust fell into my eye.
That's the worst.
Ended up at the eye doctor, him pulling out the rust with a magnet out of my eye.
Wow.
He got it out, but it was it felt like there was something in there that was just digging on my eye.
Yeah,
and it's a piece of rust. So, if I wore a pair of glasses, I had a pair of glasses before I started wearing glasses, or a pair of goggles, I would have been able to prevent that issue.
Well, and probably, the biggest thing to probably keep yourself on a job site is your brain.
Yeah.
Just
slow down,
be clear-headed.
Yeah.
Because you'll get yourself in a mess, or you'll get in a rush and get yourself twisted up, and just be aware of your surroundings.
Straight.
Yeah, stumbling over your material. So just using your brain, it goes a long ways. Keeping you safe.
Try to keep your job site somewhat orderly and clean. Know where your stuff's at. No, don't put nails in a board and have it laying up so you're stepping on it. You end up getting a tetanus shot and end up at the ER with the nail through your foot. So just small things, just like John says, use your head, slow down, don't rush. I had an old carpenter say at one time, steady is fast and hurried is slow. Right? And he would say, hurry up every chance you get. But, there are times that you can't hurry, that you just got to be steady. But there are times that you can hurry up. I watched you when he was cutting these rafters for the shed, and I was doing the manual labor, actually chipping that rock out of the ground so we could put that post deeper. He had him a little system set up with the boards, and he was just cutting everything to length, and he was just flowing, man. He was just going very fast, and it was because you had a good setup. It wasn't cluttered. You had your boards where they needed to be, and you were just making your cuts. Yeah.
I tell people a lot of times when people first start doing work, a lot of times they don't know how to work.
Sure.
I mean, that sounds silly, but
no, but it's not.
And I've joked, I'll come home with my wife and we'll talk, and I'll be trying some new guy out at a job. I'm like, he'll like a ladder or something will just work him to death. Yeah. And I'm like, he'll move it, climb it, be 2 inches from where he should be. Then he's struggling, and I'm like, and then finally I'm like, man, you're killing yourself. You know how to work your material, know how to work yourself, know your efficiencies. Yeah. And those are just principles that, of course, if you do it every day, you would gain. But as a homeowner, as a guy trying to bless his community, bless his church, whatever, you can do these things, man. You can take these deliberate steps, and you can learn a new skill. You can build some fellowship, and the things you don't know, you can probably find somebody to help you do them. And I think the sense of accomplishment and doing that to glorify the Lord is a good thing. So,
amen. Yeah, amen. It's good stuff. All right, so we're going to close it there. I think you just summarized it well. It's fellowship, learning a new skill, know what you need, know what's required of you, the basics, foundation, square plumb, materials needed. We talked about the tools. I think we've got you way off the starting line with this first project.
You got a weekend project.
There you go, at the house. Well, we can't close out without talking about our government's been shut down for 40 days?
Yeah, 45?
45 days. And I don't think anyone got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like a really pointless enterprise.
Yeah. Anyway, so once again, I'm not in the political realm too much, but you had to have your head on a rock to realize that it wasn't shut down.
Well, some people are hurting. It hurt people, which is crazy. It just seems really, and honestly now I don't understand it all either. But from my understanding, whatever they just signed is only good for the next 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be back at it again.
Yeah,
which is sad. Yeah, it's just kind of sad. But it just goes to remind us, you better not rely on the government.
Yeah. You better know your skills.
If they can't even keep themselves open with your money, then just don't rely on them.
Yeah, and
do as much as you can for yourself.
Yeah, definitely, because they take our money and they are not good stewards with it. Let's just say it that way. Nah. We're in $37 trillion in debt. I don't know what the exact number is. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And if we ran our homes and our businesses or our nonprofits like they run the government, we would be out of a job and we'd be homeless. Yeah. Anyway, but I'm glad it's over for now. I hope that there's some things that can be discussed, and I really wish that we could really trim the government. I mean, they had Elon in there and Doge, but really has anything changed?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, have they really saved that much money? And this is just my thought. Like, okay, the government was shut down. We still lived. We still survived. What's not necessary? Yeah. Why even pay for it? Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you see these categories, like this was a non-essential worker versus the essential. They're using those terms, and we've left our non-essential people at home. I'm like, if you're not essential, why do you have a job? Why are you getting compensated for being non-essential? But again, I don't even know what that means.
Sure,
but it seems to me that there probably were some essential people that were really hurt because they didn't get funding. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, these non-essential people have jobs they probably shouldn't have.
Yes, I mean,
they could be productive somewhere else. Which is what gets me. It's like, just go be productive somewhere else. Use your skill set in some other productive way in our society.
Yeah, I tell you, one place that really has hurt is airlines.
Yeah,
TSA. I mean, we've had some friends staying with us, and the wife tried to get back home Sunday. And, she was supposed to leave at a certain time. She had to book another flight because they didn't have enough agents, and she ended up getting home way later than she thought. And it was just one of these situations where you could definitely see it was affecting the airline travel. My wife is traveling to Florida to visit family this weekend. And I was like, I hope they have the agents back full force before you guys hit the airlines.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah,
We'll have
that's
to see.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, once again, the swag will be out hopefully within 2 or 3 weeks. Go to our Facebook page. I'll invite the people who follow me on Facebook, and so you can like our Everything Manly Facebook page, and then get some swag, get some hoodies. It's getting cold, so you'll have to get you a hoodie.
That's right.
And don't be a pansy.
That's
be
right.
a man. Learn how to build something, right?
There you go.
All right. We'll see you next time.